Neighbor tells you about the unstable man in the cul-de-sac who claims to have been abducted by aliens. And then there's the woman in town who claims to see Bigfoot all the time. Your boss, who you greatly admire, confides in you that he has started speaking with his wife daily when he gets home from work. She died 8 years ago. It's hard to believe this stuff, and you write these stories off as overactive imaginations. Are these people seeking attention, or are they a bit unstable? No matter what you think, if you're like me, you walk away wondering, what if that was true? The What If It's True podcast features stories by ordinary people like you and me. Something has happened to them, something so strange they are in agony unless they tell others. My name is Cameron Buckner, and the What If It's True podcast is available at whatifitstruepodcast.com and on all available podcast apps.
Man, we're live again. And tonight we didn't even hide Greg. He's been with us so much, we're just making him an honorary host.
You can fire me, Larry.
How about you fire me? We can just turn it over to Greg. Greg, how you doing tonight?
Man, tired, give out, beat down from this Alabama heat, brother.
Yeah.
Been tough.
It's hard hauling the money sacks to the bank, ain't it?
Well, sometimes that ain't too troublesome. Parts cost too much.
Well, last week at the end of the show, we were talking to Greg, and Greg was telling us some fantastic encounter stories, and we're like, you got to come on here and tell some of these things. Because me and Mark done run out of them about 3 years ago. We've been living on borrowed time, haven't we, Mark?
Yeah, and I tell you, Greg reminds me of being with Brenda Harris in New Mexico.
He don't look nothing like Brenda to me.
He don't look nothing like Brenda, and I'm kind of glad.
Come on.
But she took us on a mountain on the Navajo reservation where she had a lot of encounters, and we had some encounters up there when we were with her. But she is like the go-to person. Whenever somebody that don't have Bigfoot on the brain and has something happen to them, Brenda is who they call. And we kind of found out when we talked to you a couple of weeks ago, you kind of let that slip in that you're kind of the go-to guy in Alabama, you know, in your small area where if somebody has something happen to them, you know, and they talk to you and you let them know that they're not crazy and you're not crazy.
Yeah. I mean, y'all, people struggle. They struggle with this. I mean, they, you know, whether they kind of have an interest in it or an idea, or believe or disbelieve or whatever, you know, y'all know as well as I do. Once somebody experiences these things, has an encounter, a sighting, gets scared to death, something, you know, throwing rocks at them, whatever, they can't explain what's happening. I mean, that opens a whole big can of worms, and people, they're afraid to say anything because they're scared of ridicule. They're scared somebody's going to make fun of them. And I mean, from the time we're old enough, especially, just say go a little bitty kid. I mean, you take a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old kid, somebody pokes fun at them or teases them or whatever. I mean, it hurts your feelings. I mean, nobody wants to be teased. Nobody wants ridiculed, to be looked down upon, to made feel like, you know, that you're making up a story or you know, telling an untruth, telling a lie. People struggle with that. They, you know, they don't know who to turn to or who to say something to. And which that's one thing that now thank goodness the internet's really helped a lot of, because people are seeing stuff like y'all's program, like what I've got on here, and I've come out and said, hey, look, this is what's happened to me. I've had people that's tried to ridicule me, poke fun, prod, and this and that. Some of it I just kind of smiled and went away, and then some people I've had words with. Sometimes it nearly came to blows. I had a guy that I worked with one time. He wanted to poke and prod and make fun of me, and I let him know real quick, like, hey, I'm telling you what I seen. And he pushed the subject, and it come down to we were both fixing to lose our jobs because we was fixing to go outside and throw down. I mean, I was that. It's like, look, you may be a big old boy, but I'm a big old boy too, and I'm done with this. I'm not making it up. You can talk to my dad. You can talk to my buddy Alan. You can talk to my brothers. You can talk to, at that time, I probably knew at least 10 more people in the area that had seen the same thing I had.
Yeah.
And, and he wants to jump on, and I guess it made him feel big, or, whatever, this guy's making up, duh, duh, duh. And I told him, I said, look, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't realize if you saw what I saw, you running your mouth makes you look stupid, because I know what's real. I know what I've seen. You run around here belittling people, do what you want to, but I'm not putting up with it anymore. We're done with this.
Yeah.
And once I stood up and basically told him, hey, we'll just go out the door right there and we'll just throw down. I mean, if that's how far you want to go with it, I'll go just as far as you want to go. So
I know I transferred last June, and everybody down here knew I was a Bigfooter before I ever got down here. They didn't know nothing else about me, but they knew I believed in Bigfoot.
Oh yeah. Guys, I can't hardly hide it anymore. I mean, especially where I live, a lot of people here know about it. I don't just go, I don't have it like plastered on my truck, but
Right.
You got it plastered on your arm.
Got it. Let's see if I can get figured out here. Yeah, got my airhead Bigfoot on right here, and then I'll just go ahead and show everybody I got my big wire and the footprints, and got my big Bigfoot on that shoulder. So yeah. If I got my sleeve up or sleeve gone, yeah, they're gonna see it. I can't hardly hide that one. But yeah, I mean, guys, it's it just people are mean. I mean, they really are. And that's what's so funny about it. Just like I told y'all about my wife, it just hit me like an epiphany one night where we're watching whatever program. And I honestly think it was that Sarmiento guy or whatever his name is, Esteban Sarmiento or whatever, the scientist. And he was saying something about talking about Bigfoot and how it couldn't be sustained in the woods, and it would take so many calories, and it'd take all this and all that, and it can't be real, da da da. And I look over at my wife. I do remember we're laying in the bed, and I've got the TV on, and of course, I find it hard not to flip over if I see something about Bigfoot. And I was sitting there listening to this guy, and like I said, he's got this big long string of PhDs, whatever alphabet by his name.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, I said, it's crazy. I said, this is crazy. She said, what? I said, that joker on TV has got all this high-powered education, got all these degrees, and he's got all this with his name, and no telling how much money he spent going to college and how much time, and he's supposed to be a world-renowned expert on whatever. And I said, I'm a old red billy here in Alabama. And I know way more about what he's talking about than he does, because that man's an idiot.
Yep.
But people, here's the deal. And I've talked with people about this. I'm on several Facebook pages, and I don't share very much on there, but I'll go down through and read the comments. And just like 3 days ago, there was a Facebook page. It was like, I think it was the Bigfoot Believer page. And guys, the admin does a horrible job. I'm just going to throw that out there. It's terrible because they do not police their comment sections. There's more people that are just smart alecks, non-believers, and they're only on there to poke and prod and make fun of people.
Yep.
And I'll go down through there and I'll read. A lot of times at night, I don't sleep, especially since I've been, broke my leg. I hurt all the time. I'll read the comments. And after I read through a lot of those comments, I can weed through, and I'll just tell you, it's like my Bigfoot meter's going off of, okay, this guy's legit. He's told me too much. And even in this short comment, this guy's hit on certain things that I know are true. And there was a poor old guy, I'm not going to call his name. He was in Alberta, Canada, and I didn't know where it was. I commented on his post, and what it was he had commented that he had 3 sightings, and he was not going to come on there and tell the 3 sightings because the comments, the people that were on there, that none of the admins were scolding, booting off, whatever they had to do to make them stop. And guys, it's killing that podcast. It's killing that page because people will not. I mean, why would you? You're throwing it out here, trying to spill your heart out and saying, "Hey, this is what happened to me," and they're looking for that person. They're looking to grab hold of that person that knows what they're talking about. Somebody to confide in that's not going to ridicule. They're not going to make fun of them. And maybe they can ask some questions or share what they've experienced and compare it and compare notes and try to find those pieces of the puzzle to stick them together.
Yeah.
But I commented to the guy's post or to his comment, and I told him, I said, yeah, the admin's doing a horrible job. I'm really let down. And I've started to just drop off this page, but I know that there's people here, and I'm trying to read through the comments and decipher who's legit and who's not. And I said, I told him, I said, I'm going to private message you or you private message me. Well, long story short, the guy private messages me, and we start, conversing back and forth, text message. And night before last, I texted back and forth with this guy for 3.5 hours from 1 a.m. Central Standard Time to 4:30 in the morning. 3.5 hours back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And we talked openly. There was nobody to ridicule. It was us exchanging messages and exchanging things that had happened to him and things that happened to me. And one of the first things I had done was I sent him the link to these 4 other episodes. I said, look, quickest thing for me to do for you to see what part of what I've went through, please go look at these podcasts. Here, this will get you up to speed with a lot of what I've dealt with. And when I talked to him, the other night, we were on there so late. He had watched like 3 episodes and just started the 4th one. And we talked, guys, back and forth and back and forth. And this guy typed out page after page after page of his encounters. And guys, I'll tell you straight up, this dude's as legit as he can be. And he had some phenomenal encounters, 3 of them that he's seen. And, and that's the crying shame, is because people like him that's experienced this stuff, he's done, like I said, 3 different times, but he can't come out because he don't want ridiculed. And guys, there is thousands, y'all know as well as I do, there's thousands of people out there that's going to be in the same boat that this guy is.
Right.
And, one of the main things that I go back to on a lot of this stuff is I try to tell the skeptics, guys, okay, look, I got y'all. I've heard this song and dance. I've heard it over and over and over. Y'all got the same playlist that's, well, we don't have a body. Okay. Well, why don't we have some bones? Or, well, if it was real, why wouldn't the government do so-and-so? Guys, stop looking. Let's unplug. Let's unplug that plug and turn it 180 degrees and plug it back in. Let's don't look at what what we don't have. Let's look at what we do have. Let's look at the thousands upon thousands and thousands of sightings, reputable people, police officers, preachers, politicians, lawyers. I'm talking about school teachers, bank presidents, game wardens, anybody, any profession that you can probably name. If we look for just a little while, we'll find somebody in that profession, this reputable person that pass a polygraph that'll tell you that they've seen the same thing that all these other people seen. All right. Then we're going to look at DNA evidence. We're going to look at hair samples. We're going to look at footprints, not just footprints or handprints. Let's throw footprints and handprints in the same category. Look at the dermal ridge. Look at the dermal ridges, fingerprints, toe prints. You're not going, who's going to be able to fake that? Let's drop plumb back 5,000 years ago to cave drawings. Let's look at cave drawings that the Native American Indians drew that shows a certain size or a certain style where they put people, and then they've got, animals or whatever. Well, then there's this big outline of this big hairy man thing.
Yeah.
Right. What was the Indians saying? The Indians didn't make up the same thing that we're making up now. How does that come? Let's put it together. Let's look at all the things, the blood samples. Let's look at the stuff that we do have. I mean, guys, here in North Alabama, we don't have many, but we do have bears. There's bears here. I've never seen one. I know people that have. I've never seen one. I've never found a dead bear carcass. I've even never seen a bear track. Only time I'm going to see a bear is if I go to Cades Cove. I'm not running around making fun of somebody that says, hey, we saw a bear the other day. It crossed the road. I mean, I'm not going, hey, you're making this up. Guys, the people that are telling y'all just like me, I have absolutely nothing to gain. The only thing I am going to gain is me trying to help somebody. If I help somebody, that's a win for me. Because that's why I'm here. That's the only reason I'm here is I'm hoping that somebody's going to get something out of this.
That's what I was going to say next is the first time that we met Greg and just spending time around a campfire with him and talking to him. Your purpose is the same thing our purpose is with these podcasts. It's to help people. It's not to prove anything. It's to help people. And what you do in your community when somebody has a sighting and that the trauma that they go through and they try to talk themselves out of what they saw.
Yeah.
But you try to help people. I think that is the key and that we can do for people out there.
Yeah. Well, guys, here's something I didn't know whether I really wanted to share it on here or not, but I'm going to. Because maybe this will clarify a little bit of stuff up for some of the people that's watched all these episodes, the last 4 that I've done. Tell you a little bit extra about me. I told everybody I'm a husband of nearly 26 years, got 2 children, been, family man. And as far as me helping my community and trying to look out for other people, we had a local rescue squad here in the town that I live. I was a member of that rescue squad for about 11 years. And then it actually financially didn't have that much support from any kind of government funding. And everything was kind of going away toward the regular paramedic services. So the rescue squad closed down and they kind of handed the torch off to the fire department, which for me, that meant pretty much nothing changed because I've been a volunteer fireman as of right now about 16 years. And I'm actually the safety officer in the fire department, and I've held a officer place at the department for about 12 years. Not only that, but I've been a law enforcement officer in the state of Alabama for going on 14 years. So yes, I am a law enforcement officer, a fire department officer, and I was a rescue squad. And I went in the Bankhead Forest where I live, and furthest I've ever hiked in to get to rescue somebody, by the time we hiked in and got the lady and hiked out, was about 23 miles.
Ooh.
So yeah,
I'm out.
yeah, you talking about make your calves and your shin, you got shin splints and your calves to burn for about a week.
Yeah.
But I mean, guys, my joy is seeing other people be okay and for them to be safe and to help people. That's one of my main purposes that I revolve around and just always have. But yes, like I said, I've got nothing to gain by coming on anywhere and making up, fabricating things and telling people something that isn't right. And like I said, I know I go overboard. My wife, she'll be elbowing me, like, speed it up. And I go into great detail on things because a lot of things that I've seen, I've had to paint a picture for everybody where there's not, I see a question there, I'll answer in a second. My main drive in life is to try to help people. That's what I'm about. And I don't know how else to put that as far as just, I enjoy helping people. I've just always had the need to help people, and I have nothing to gain. I mean, the only thing I can gain is ridicule or helping somebody. That's basically the two things that I'm out for. It sure ain't going to be fame and fortune. That's out the window,
Well, I'd like to say something. You pointed out earlier that you get a lot of ridicule from outside the community, people that really don't believe.
Yeah.
But Mark and I know that the community is actually worse than them Joe Blows that are just giving you a hard time. The community is harder on the people like you coming forward telling your story. All you got to do is get one detail wrong, and they're going to tell you you're a hoaxer, you're a liar, you're not telling the truth, whatever.
Yeah. Well, you are correct. There's a certain percentage of them brown hole people, but but guys, I don't know. And here's one of the biggest pieces of advice that I took to heart was the minute that you have somebody tell you that they're an expert, that's what you need to walk away from.
Run.
Don't walk, run.
Yeah.
Run. Yeah, run. Get the fast vehicle and jet away from it. The comment, let me jump back on the comment. It derailed me a while ago. I read it and I was like, kind of put something together. But yes, I'm south of Moulton. I'm pretty good. A little way south of Moulton, but yes, it is south of Moulton. But anyway, guys, I don't know. I mean, it's there again. That's another piece of this puzzle that it's like this stuff's not meant to be known. I mean, it's crazy. People will be looking at this going, oh, he's into the woo. Looky here. Woo.
Yeah.
Guys, look, like I tried to explain to people, what I've seen these things do, there's some woo to it. I don't know how, and I don't know why, and I don't know how it does happen. But like I told y'all, what I've seen these things do, the way they move, just the way they move, the way they could jump, the way they could run, the speed of something that big. I mean, it does not look real to the fact of that's not supposed to be scientifically, physically possible for something that big to move that fast, or to be able, like I said, be standing and launch, just kick off one leg and leap. 5 foot elevation, 25 or so feet horizontal and 5 foot vertical. Think about that. Think about, it was somebody in a suit. Put you a suit on, see how heavy that suit's going to be. But before you do that, go get your track shorts and get the best Air Jordans you got, pumping babies up so tight that your toenails turn purple. And let's see you jump from standing dead still 25 feet away up onto the top of a car. Okay, you can do that. We'll go get the suit that's going to weigh 60 pounds, put that on top of you. How they going to do that? You know, I want to see that guy. I want to meet that guy because I've never seen an athlete could do what I saw these things do. There's no way. Ain't happening. Could not happen. Just like I said, running through the briar thicket. Because that thing run through that briar thicket, there is no way you could have drove a four-wheeler through that half as fast as that thing ran through it without being ripped off the motor or off the four-wheeler. I mean, it plowed through that stuff like it was not there. Just briars just woven and laying every direction, this way, that way. And it's just like a net. And guys, like y'all been through the woods like I'm talking about, all those blackberry briars, they're not just thorns sticking out. They're like fish hooks. Yeah. And they'll hang on the ones next to it, and it's just like they're tied together. That thing plowed through that stuff, and it was just like shearing them off, just breaking them. It just ran through them. All these skeptics, explain to me, who do you know? All y'all skeptics, who do y'all know that can do that? How many people can y'all show me that can plow through that, got the strength and the strength to do it, the size to do it? I've never seen a human could do it, ever. But I know what I saw. I saw that thing plow through that thicket or through that briar thicket just like it wasn't there. So, I've got to where I try not to let it bother me. People ridicule or laugh or poke fun or whatever. But, it ends up getting to you after a while. And it just depends on how cordial they are with it. If it's kind of a ha-ha or they're trying to belittle you.
Yeah. I just tell them, I'm going out this weekend. If you don't believe it, just go with me.
Yeah. I say Spencer's got a good question.
Spencer's always got a question.
He's got a top shelf comment. And Spencer, I appreciate that question, and I hope maybe everybody can see it so I can go ahead and answer it. Yes, sir. Yeah, but now look, they have pretty much not been so outspoken. I mean, we didn't do it at our Fraternal Order of Police Lodge. But yes, sir, I had right here in this county, men that I've known a long, long time. I had a guy that was he was an officer here for 20-something years. Very, very top shelf officer. And he very respected man. Held a very high position in this county. He came to me one day and he said, I heard you seen a Bigfoot. I said, just kind of like looked at him. Said, you see one? I said, yes, sir. I mean, at this point in time, I really didn't know how to answer it. I said, yes, sir. He said, well, let me tell you about the one I saw. I'm like, what? He said, yeah. He said, it's been several years ago. And the best I can remember, it was in the late 80s. He, one of our federal campgrounds here, he was patrolling. He drove down, went through the gate, drove around through the campground, and it goes through one campground and loops around, and another road loops like say campground A and campground B. He gets over on the backside in his patrol car, just easing around through, going these roads, twist and turn. Comes around a sharp curve, and his headlights swing into a camping spot where there's nobody at. He said first thing he thought it was big reflectors, 2 red reflectors. And said he just stops. And it was right out in front of his car, like 20, 25 yards. And then he realizes that those big reflectors are eyeballs, and they're attached to this big, a big black, fully covered in hair, look a giant man standing upright. I said, what'd you do? He said, I just sit there. So I sit there with my headlights on bright looking at it. I said, what did it do? He said, well, it stood there probably 15, 20 seconds or so. He said the thing just turned around, turned his back to him, and just 2 or 3 steps and went right into the thick part of the woods and walked off. I said, then what'd you do? He said, I thought, oh, crap. That thing's going back toward the other part of the campground where everybody's at. So he gasses his patrol car and whizzes around and goes up and comes in the other road. Drove back and forth several times. Never did see it again. Don't know where it went. I had another officer approach me about probably 5 weeks ago. Just matter of fact, he was over here at my man cave. Well, he came in and he'd already knew that, you know, he and I had never talked about Bigfoot, but he knew basically, you know, I don't hide it from them guys anymore. So, but we just never, me and him one-on-one talked about it. And this guy's got a law enforcement job, puts him out in the woods a lot. We'll just say it that way, a lot. He stays in the woods more than he stays in a car. But anyway, I ain't gonna pin him down too hard. But he walks in my man cave, and then the floor, if I had this thing turned around, y'all could see it. There's a 4 foot tall Bigfoot outline burnt in the wood floor. It's covered in varnish. He walks in, he starts talking about how he likes my Bigfoot in the floor. And then that kicked the conversation off to the whole Bigfoot subject. He said, "You've really seen him?" I said, "Yeah, I've seen him." I said, "I've seen him 3 times." And I said, I've had dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of encounters. He said, "You know, we had something come in on us. We was on a stakeout one night." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, over here in the forest." He said him and 2 other officers were watching a marijuana field. They were on a stakeout watching the marijuana field. He said, "Dude, we had something bipedal come in from the wrong way anybody should have come." And he said it got up there breaking limbs. He said, "Man, it sounded like they were this big." And he said, whatever it was not happy. And he said it circled all around us. And we never could get eyes on it, couldn't tell what it was. So we never, you know, they wouldn't turn lights on. They didn't want to give her position away. But he said, man, whatever it was, I don't know. But he said I ain't never heard nothing like it. And he said, I wondered if that wasn't what it was. I said, probably exactly what it was. He said, whatever it was on 2 feet. And he said, there's no way. I'm telling you, there's no way that was a person. Ain't no way. Could not have been a person. He said to come in the wrong way. There was nowhere for him to come from, you know, to get there the way that came in. He said the trails that whoever had the field was come from different direction. And this was going to nothing. You know, it was just forest. But he said that's where it come from. Had one of the other officers here in the county, his dad saw one right here where I'm at. I'm talking about the same curves right here, right up from 1/4 of a mile from where I'm sitting right now. Some S curves. Friend of mine, he's one of our chiefs of police in one of the towns here. His father in the late 50s, maybe 1960, 58 to 60, somewhere in there. His father and another guy had been gone somewhere doing something. He'd carried the guy home, was coming back on a desolate paved road, rainy night. He comes around going back home and sees a upright, thought it was a man. It's raining, his windshield wipers are on, but it's on the white line on his side, walking the same way that he's driving. He comes up behind it, veers over to go around it, and as he gets right to it and starts around it, he realizes that this ain't a man. That thing's huge, and it's covered in hair. He goes on around and keeps going. All right, fast forward from then, say let's call it 1960. Sometime in the mid-90s, he's about 4 miles over on another road going to another town, but about 4 miles away. He comes around the curve and sees one cross the highway. So he saw 2, what would it be, 30-something years apart, 35 years apart. But the chief of police will tell you straight up that his daddy wasn't a liar. He didn't make it up. He said, I've never seen one, but my daddy did. He's seen 2 of them. And guys, I had another guy. He's not here right now. He was a Forest Service ranger, federal guy. I got him, just me and him one day. We were eating lunch. Ate lunch together at a local restaurant. We got outside. I finally hit him up. I'd never mentioned anything to him. He was not from this area. They'd sent him in here. He'd been here about 4 or 5 years. And this was before he transferred off and went to another forest. I asked him, I said, man, I got to ask you something. He said, what? I said, you ever get any strange reports out of the forest? He's kind of cocks his head, says, yeah. Why? I said, well, I just wondered. He said, wait a minute. I said, what kind of strange reports are you talking about? I said, oh, I don't know. I said, maybe something big, hairy, 7, 8 foot tall, walking around on 2 legs. He just looks at me and goes, what do you know about that? I said, I know a lot about it. He said, what do you mean you know a lot about it? And at that time, I'd seen 2 of them. This was before my 3rd sighting. I said, dude, I've seen 2 of them. And I said, I've had them throw rocks at me. I've heard them beat trees, hoop, howl, whoop, communicate back and forth, like gibberish, just foreign language. I said, man, they stole deer from me. I mean, I stood there and talked to him outside for an hour and a half. I said, look, dude, I said, I know they're real, and I figure you know they're real, but I don't know why nobody will talk about it. He said, well, I got a lot of reports out of the forest. I said, what's a lot? He said, well, and at this time, he said, well, 2 weeks ago, there were 6 people hiked off in one of the big canyons on the trail down there. We got some major trailheads. Guys, it'll be 8, 9, 10 miles just on that one trail. He said there was, I think it was either 6 or 8 full-grown adults had hiked in, going to do an overnight hike, go in, camp out, and then hike on out another trail the next day. Well, these 6 or 8 adults had built them up a fire, had their tent set. 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, something comes in, and there was 2 somethings, one on each side of their camp, circling round and around, going around their camp. Got throwing rocks at them, screaming, yelling, raising Cain. He told me when the people, talked to him that they were pretty bad tore up about it, pretty afraid. So he said, and that was really close to the time. I mean, it was just before that he and I were talking when this had happened. It was just weeks. But he said, I get reports pretty regular. He said, it might be a couple of months. And he said, I might be once a month or so. He said, somebody will report something. I was like, Dave, why do people not talk about this? He shrugs his shoulders. And he said, well, we'll talk about it later. And then it wasn't a real long time that he wound up transferring to a different national forest, which that's nothing to do with what he and I talked about. It's just he got a better opportunity, a better job with the Forestry Service. But
did he kind of hint to what his agency's opinion?
No, we never got into that part. He was pressed for time, but I had his full attention for this whole time. So I kind of run him over from some stuff he needed to do. And he said, look, we'll talk later. And it just didn't work out. And we didn't talk about it anymore. So I don't know. And like I said, he's still employed with them. He didn't shell out no pile of information or anything. And guys, I don't know. I can't tell you what the U.S. Forestry Service tells their people. I don't know. I have no idea what they tell them. Keep your mouth shut. Tell them it don't exist. I don't know. I could not tell you one way or the other. I have no idea. It's just, but yeah, I mean, there's another law enforcement officer, one of my very, very close friends. He's almost like an adopted little brother. He's heard me talk about this for years and years and years, but he hadn't been over here with me. He hadn't experienced it. All he's heard was me on my word of me telling him stuff had happened about 2.5 years ago. And like I said, he's a law enforcement officer in this county. He calls me. He says, calls me one night. He said, I said, what? He goes, not such clean language. He said, I think I just seen you, booger man. I said, you think you seen my booger man? No, I seen you, booger man. I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, yep, I seen it. I said, where'd you see it? So he tells me. It's about 3 miles from where I'm sitting right now on this same highway. But he was coming out of the town where I live, come around the curve. When his lights kind of swept out of the curve, he said this thing on 2 legs, huge, covered in hair, ran across the road, and it was at a guy's house. It was just past the guy's house. It ran across the road, ran out across the guy's yard, and it was illuminated by a booger light. It ran across and went into like a cattle pasture. So he didn't just see it cross the highway. He saw it cross the highway and then probably 20, 25 yards of a guy's yard. So, I mean, that's just, I mean, there you go. I mean, that's what, 4, 5 law enforcement right here in this county that's seen it.
Okay, Patrick Noble has a great question. And it's good to see you, Patrick. What time of the year is the most activity in your area?
Well, guys, it could be any time. There's no rhyme or reason. The reason I've had so many things happen over here in the woods where I hunt is because of hunting season. I was just there. That was the time of year. Like I said, October 15th through the last day of January, I'm trying to get in the woods all I can. So that was where I had the majority of my stuff. But right here where I'm sitting, right here. I mean, I hadn't had anything happen here in 6 weeks. Hadn't had anything. My wife put out, we had some watermelon rinds and about a third of a watermelon. She set it out here I got some benches around a fire pit here at my man cave at the lake. She put them out there. They've been there since Sunday. The guy that works for me, I had him chunk them out in the woods. Nothing touched them. Nothing touched them. So that's telling me odds are they're not here. They're not here. Right here, before I came up to the LBL, the day before we left coming up there for the Snowmageddon at the LBL, Troy and Alan walked from where I'm sitting right here, 200 yards. That's where they found the squirrel carcasses, like it had set leaning against the tree and about, like out in front of it on each side, pretty wide. They found like 3 squirrels that had been picked apart, and the skulls were lined up like 3 over here and 3 on this side, equal, and the bones were like piled up in little piles where it'd eat the squirrels. That's right here. 200 yards is just down a swag and back up right here. But about 100, let's say 120 feet right here, there's a log road that goes right beside my man cave into some more property. Right out there is where Alan took the pictures of a 5-toed track. Troy nearly stepped in it. It was where the water had washed some mud. The road goes out, goes up a little bit of a grade, and the mud had washed down. And it was in the woods where it's shaded. Troy stepped out, and Alan looked down. He was behind Troy, and he looked down. He said, Troy, you nearly stepped in a track. Sure enough, 5-toed track right out here. I mean, it's from where I'm sitting, it's probably 120 feet. I mean, we've had stuff happen. I mean, pick a month of the year, and we've had something happen. Now, like I said, we may have something happen 3 times in 1 week, and then you may go 3 weeks and not a peep, or they may be here 3 weeks and gone a week. There's no rhyme or reason, but they keep coming back. I mean, we have something all the time. It's just it's like this bunch. Do I believe that some migrate? I think maybe so. I don't know. That's sure they may migrate, but I think a lot of these here, I don't think they really migrate like from North Alabama to Kentucky or from Kentucky all the way down to Florida. No, I don't believe that. I don't think it's that they're traveling that far. And the main reason here, there's no reason for them to go a long way. Our winters are cold, but they're not horrible. Our summers are hot, but look, there's a lot of shelter bluffs that are cool. We got plenty of water. They can lay in these branches. They could get in the lake and cool down. There's dang sure plenty of food. I mean, there's any kind of, you know, I got books that shows you what plants and stuff that you can eat, and who knows what these things can eat. I mean, there's people's gardens. There's trash cans sitting everywhere that's got food in it. The deer, turtles, fish, frogs, you name it, crawfish. Something that's is, I mean, well, the woods are their home. I mean, that it'd be just like saying, well, you know, a deer couldn't live here. To me, that's what it would be like saying, except a deer has to eat plants. I figure these things, I know they eat meat. There's no doubt in my mind they eat meat, and they wouldn't keep stealing my deer from me. You know, one of my family members, my cousin that owned the sawmill, his mother and my grandfather were first cousins. They lived in the community where my home is, which is about 5.5 miles. They lived about a half a mile from where my home is now. But back in the, probably going to been about 1925 to 1930, she was a little girl, but she had walked out of her mother and daddy's house, and it's an old, kind of like an antebellum type house. Big white house. It's got the columns on the front. The house was probably built around 1900. Her dad, which was my great grandfather's brother, was sitting on the porch, and his daughter came out, and she was 7, 8 years old. And when she steps out the back door onto the back porch one summer, straight out from their back door, it was about 35, 40 yards to their barn. And when she steps out, said that the hogs, they had a hog pen on the back side of the barn, and the hogs was just going crazy. And her daddy was sitting on the porch, and he was looking out that way. Well, she steps out, the hog fence where the barn stopped, and the fence kept going. There's this big man covered in hair, steps over chest high hog fence, steps over it into like a field road that went on out, and it was woods on the left side. The man that's covered in hair has got his arm curled and got a 150-pound sholt hog under his arm, holding it. Steps over the fence, holding a 150-pound hog, walks across and kind of down that road and then goes in the woods. But that would have been probably pre-1930 when that happened.
Greg, Debbie Metters wants to know, do you think they would ever hurt you?
Well, I hope not. But I've had, if you'll go back and listen to some of the other 4 episodes, you'll hear kind of what I've put up with. And there's been several times that I didn't think I was going to get back to my truck. I mean, honest to God. And like Alan and I, that day, look, I've got no trust for these things. I mean, they're here and I try to get along with them, but I still don't know, because I never could figure out why they were mad and why they weren't. I don't, and like I said, that still bothers me, is because I could go to the same property over here and go in there and have 2 or 3 encounters where they would just be benign. They would pace you out. Well, they may throw acorns at you, small stones. You may hear them grunt and huff, but they weren't belligerent. I may go over there 2 days this week, hunt. They were fine. They were there. They would make themselves known. Without a doubt, they'd make themselves known. They would follow you to the truck. And I'm talking about within 15 yards of you. But they'd be off in the thicket, and you could just hear them going through the thicket, pacing you. And when you'd walk, they'd walk. When you'd stop, they'd stop. They wouldn't do anything out of the way. Not to terrify you or scare you or anything. You like 2 days ago have something happen. Today go have the same thing happen. I go back tomorrow. That thing bluff charged me, sound like the whole woods was turning upside down with a D8 Caterpillar dozer. Screaming, yelling, roaring, like I'm fixing to end you. You're gonna die. I'm gonna pull your head off right now. And like I said, guys, The only thing I attribute it to that several times that I stopped these things was when I laid down with that laid that Browning rifle out, and guys, it was like you had a big giant lever and you just clumped and shut it off. They stopped right then. As soon as I leveled that rifle, they stopped. Now I backed myself on and got to where I get to the truck, and I was getting the heck out of there. But like I said, they may not understand how a rifle works, that you put cartridges in it, or gunpowder primer made out of steel and wood. Look, sure, they don't understand that, but they know that pointing weapon, that bare-haired human, when he points it, it blows smoke and a big ball of fire out the end, and whatever it's pointing at gets a hole put in it and it dies. Yeah, they got that put together. Without a doubt, they know what that weapon does.
Yeah.
So, that being said, where I'm sitting right now, right over here, about 6 feet, there's a 357 Magnum laying, and it's loaded. And right over there in the corner, there is a 12-gauge semi-auto right shotgun that holds 8 rounds. It's got a slug, buckshot, a slug, buckshot, a slug, buckshot. And there's 2 bedrooms here that's got a loaded AK-47 stood up against a headboard. I'm not going to be a victim. If it comes crashing through a wall, I don't want to have to go unlock these 2 gun safes that's sitting right here. So I hope and pray that I never have to fire 1 round at these things. And guys, I've had the opportunity. The one that Alan, I hope and pray everybody enjoyed that. And that, guys, I'm so proud that Alan, and if I get back on here, I'm going to make Alan come. If I have to go get him in Birmingham and drive him back up. But guys, Alan and I, that night when that would come out there and was breaking the saplings and grunting and huffing and was mad, he followed Alan all the way out. And I'm pretty sure, I'd say 90% that that's the same one that done me pretty much the same way it did him. That thing, where it was at, it would have been like shooting fish in a barrel, because you could tell. I mean, guys, this thing's 35, 40 feet from us. I'm sitting here with that Browning rifle, semi-automatic, with 5 rounds in it, him with 4 rounds in that 7-mag. Guys, it'd be like shooting a refrigerator. We could hear the saplings popping. Now, it's done got dark. You can't see hardly nothing. But, guys, I guarantee you there's no way that I wouldn't have hit that thing with any less than 3 out of 5 shots. I didn't want to shoot it. I do not want to. I did not want to. I just didn't want to get killed myself. I didn't want it hurting Alan and his buddy. Like I said, the old saying, ignorance is bliss. Well, let me tell you something. Before I knew what was in these woods, it was a whole lot easier to go in the woods after dark. It was a whole lot easier before I realized that the booger man was real. He's not a fable. He's out here walking around. I mean, like I said, there's no shame in being scared or having fear. The shame is letting fear control you. Just best advice I can give people is stay prepared. If you're going in the woods, don't ball off, especially women or children. Don't ball off in there alone, especially if you've got somewhere like where I live, where there's a lot of sightings, a lot of people talking about having encounters. Use some common sense. I mean, if we pulled up in a hayfield and I let you out of the truck and said, walk to that far wood line over there about 100 yards. I mean, sure, you'd probably walk out across that hayfield and grass up your knee and not think twice about it. But if you got out of that truck and I said, hey, if you don't care, walk to that tree over there on the far side about 100 yards. And hey, you may want to watch it, because out of the last 100 people here, 10 of them has seen rattlesnakes and copperheads. Would that not bother you just a little bit worse than if I just said, hey, walk across that field? Would that not make you pump your brakes and go, oh, wait a minute, I better pay attention? I'm out to ease through this grass and really watch the ground.
Yeah.
But guys, look, carry you. There's a lot of things you can do. My best advice would be, if you're not going to at least carry a large caliber handgun, get you some bear spray, because I figure these things has probably got senses like a bear. Don't just get one can. What if you squirt one can out and there's two of them? Then what you gonna do? Or if you go somewhere, go with a buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, more accounts that you read about, it's a total different ball game if there's two people versus one person. Guys, I mean, I can see that in humans. I can see that in humans being law enforcement. You have one officer pull over a car with three people in it. They look at it, there's one officer. They'll kind of get the tailhole about them and be smart and belligerent and this and that and not want to comply. But you have that second officer pull up, get out, walk up there. It's just like you unplugged it. The whole demeanor changes. They're like, uh-oh, there's two of them now. Guys, I've seen that 1,000 times. And it changes everything when there's more of you than one. When you're by yourself, you're just a lot more vulnerable. But tell people where you're going. Pay attention. Don't bottle in the woods somewhere unknown and not educate yourself. I'm not telling anybody don't go and enjoy the woods, because I still go. When I go, I'm armed.
Just act like you're going to Memphis.
Yes. I don't want to go to Memphis. Y'all have all the Memphis you want. I got Birmingham to go to. Huntsville's not too bad. But it's guys, all our big cities. I mean, really, honest to God, y'all, I'm way more afraid to go to Birmingham, go to Atlanta, Memphis. I worry about me more going there than I do in these woods and me knowing what's in these woods.
Yeah.
I really do. Now, that still don't mean that I totally trust these things 100%. And like I told y'all it was just sheer blind, dumb luck when I diffused the situation with them. And from that day, now look, I may go out of here tonight and one jump on me when I go out this door to get in my car to go home. But after I whooped back at that one that night, when Alan and his buddy, guys, it was just, I cannot even explain. It was like everything changed. And I don't know why. I have no idea why.
All right. Well, let's move to the next question. Ronnie Tucker, who will pull a log out with some mules in a heartbeat.
That's a working man, then.
Yeah, he is. Said, did your cousin ever tell you of his experiences on that land he wouldn't sell you?
No, the reason he wouldn't sell me the land is because of the experiences that I had and I was telling him about. And his mother, like I said, his mother was the one that seen that one step across the fence with the hawk. And of course, that was long before he was born. But like I said, things like that, they didn't really talk about in the family back then, or anybody. One of my other cousins, her husband grew up right up the road from here. If you go up here and turn on the road that I saw my first one on, about a mile and a half from where I had my first sighting, my cousin's husband grew up right there. All right. His daddy, I reckon he farmed, logged, whatever, but he also may or may not have had a covert alcohol beverage facility that he made clandestine in the woods. Basically, he was a moonshiner. So anyway, his dad that was the moonshiner, he had made the statement to several of my relatives, said if people knew what was in these woods, they'd be afraid to let their kids out of the house. And this was 60s, 70s, so on and so forth. Well, his children, which wound up being married to my cousin, one of them, he was telling my other cousin and about that when he was a kid, the school bus didn't turn and go up that paved road. for them to go to the school over here, they had to walk about a mile or so from their house down to the main highway. Well, they'd have to walk it morning down here, and then evening, the bus would let them off, and they had to walk it back. And he said when they were kids, said time and time and time again, that there would be something over in the woods breaking limbs and walking with them. So they would walk when they'd walk, and when they'd stop, it'd stop. Never tried to harm them, never vocalized at them, never did anything to act like it was a danger. But he said, my daddy, he said he wouldn't, that's about all that his daddy would tell him. He wouldn't elaborate on what he had seen. But his main thing was, if people had saw the things that he had saw in these woods, that they'd be scared to let their kids out of the house.
Yeah. All right. Mark Ledford asked, are there any police cam videos that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of. Definitely not here local. No, I don't know of anybody. I mean, guys, look, we're in the middle of nowhere, and most of our patrol cars, I mean, honestly, 10 years ago, they wouldn't have been 1 out of 10 probably had a camera in it.
Yeah.
If it was some outdated something by the time we got it. Right. And right now, their budget's so low right here. I mean, they pretty much all got cameras in them, but at any point in time, it may or may not work.
Yeah. I think I've seen one. I think it was a Georgia State Highway Patrol. I think was having a ride along with somebody.
That one is in Lumpkin County, Georgia, which is Dahlonega, Georgia. And the only reason I know that is that my dad's people are from Lumpkin County, Georgia, and Dahlonega. They were some of the first settlers in Dahlonega, Georgia, in like 1832. But yeah, that's how I knew that, because I've seen that footage a bunch of times. But yeah, he had a female riding along with him for some reason. Yeah. And they're coming around, and that thing runs across and like steps over a guardrail.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now we know they're following Greg's family from Georgia to Alabama.
Man, I would follow somebody else for a little while and leave me alone.
Nat Wolf asked, do you have any sounds recorded? Have you ever done any audio recordings or anything?
No, I never did. I've tried with some stuff to try to record, but guys, this has been, like I said, 17, 18 years ago. I didn't have nothing to record nothing with. And I was so broke, I couldn't pay attention. I couldn't go find it. I mean, everything. And when we did hear something, it was always, you didn't have anything with you to record it with, or if you did, it'd be so far off. You try to play it and you couldn't hear it. I mean, yeah. It wasn't like now where you go buy actual stuff, decent, moderately priced. Let's say moderately priced. Yeah. And at this point in my life, and Alan and I talked about it, said, really, I finally got a GoPro a year or so back. I don't never turn the thing on. But guys, here's the thing. I hadn't really, it's hard to explain, and I know people are not going to understand. I'm not as much about proving to people that these things are real. I know they're real. A lot of my family knows they're real. A lot of my friends know they're real. Guys that I hang out with, Cheryl Corntassel, Troy Allen, Coonbo Baker, people that I know and trust, they know the same, just as much as I do. I'm not the group of people that I'm hanging out with. They already know I don't have to prove nothing to them.
It's always good to have people around that take you at your word, and they've had similar experiences, so they know.
I mean, hey guys, you look at it, most of the guys, and if I name them, y'all gonna know every one of them.
Yeah,
they've had stuff as crazy as I've had, or crazier. And dude, I'm gonna tell you, I don't doubt them a lick. I don't doubt any, whatever they tell you. You can load that up, take it to the bank, and check and cash it in for money.
Yeah.
Cheryl Corntassel scares me to death. Stuff that's happening. No, sir. No.
They got
Troy scares me.
Troy's got some stuff. Now, Troy's is booger stuff. Corntassel's had stuff that he's saying that man needs a wheelbarrow to roll his pair with him. I don't do haints and spooks. No, sir. Big furry Bigfoot. There's my line in the sand.
Yeah.
Some stuff Corntassel's saying, no, sir. I'm out. Look.
Yeah.
You see them tail lights? That's Greg. He's gone. No, I don't do that.
All right. Barry Browning wants to know what's your weirdest encounter that you've had.
Probably the weirdest, and as far as creepy, was when I heard them two talking back and forth.
Yeah.
Guys, that, and every time, and now we got to throw Cam in here. Every time I listen to his Steve Lilly, and he got talking about the speaking Ghibli.
Yeah.
Every time I hear Ghibli, I start chuckling because that suits that so much. It's unreal. But guys, look, that was so weird to hear. I mean, it would be like if I picked up like when I was a kid and we had the party line telephone, like if I eased over and eased her up and listened to see if anybody was on it. It would have been like it was like a mad Russian dude talking to a mad German dude or a mad Korean or something. It was, I mean, yeah, it was like some Native American, but it was, I mean, I never noticed it say, and I'm not poking fun nobody. It's just that their dialect just kills me. And I love Chinese food. I'd eat it 5 days a week. But if you go in there, it's like when that Chinese lady takes my order, when she speaks and she speaks to me in English, she turns around and says something to the dude back there cooking. It's like they're in a fight. Like, look, I'm fixing to have to carry somebody to jail because y'all about to throw down. It's like they're mad. And I don't know why. It's just the way that, of course, I don't even know a syllable of their language. But it sounded like it was excited. It sounded like it was repeating the same syllable. The same syllable would just, it's like, like a broken record or a scratch record. Won't, 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 won't. But it did kind of have some Native American sound to it. But that was the creepiest, weirdest something that I've ever experienced. I mean, just to hear, because like I said, it would be like if you and I were going to have a conversation, but we were limited to I can say 4 words, and then you got to come back instantly with 4 words, and then I've got 4 words, and you got 4 words, and I've got 4. It was just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And it was really like a pause in it. It was just, this one to go and then that one. And I was hearing it was 2 different voices. It would be the same as if somebody listened to our conversation. They could tell when I talk and they could tell when you talk without looking at us. I mean, I heard 2 voices, different voices. And guys, I'll try to imitate it again just for the ones that ain't heard it before. But it would repeat the same sound, but it'd go, oi, ah, ha, 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 oi, ah, yeah, 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 oi. And then the other one would go, oi, ah, yeah, 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 oi. And it would be kind of that kind of dialect, and it was just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I'm over here with all the blood done drifted down from about my knee up further. White as snow going, I've got to get the hell out of here, and I need to be doing it quiet and as calmly and as quickly as I can get myself back up this hill about 200-something yards, and I need to be in that truck leaving. Guys, you talking about creep you out when you're down here hearing a language that really shouldn't exist, but I'm sitting here hearing it, and guys, it wasn't quiet. It wasn't hard to hear at all. I'm talking about it was loud.
Yeah.
And it's right here. I mean, it's like 30 yards right there, and they're just over the crown of that hill where I can't see them. Guys, I guarantee you, if I'd had a 5-gallon bucket to have stood on, I would have been able to have it at least same top of their head. They were that close. I just could not see them. And that was the weird, that's probably the weirdest. Now, that wasn't the scariest I've been. I know that one. But probably the weirdest thing that I've seen was that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Larry, every time I see Mark Green on here, I think about Plowboy Frazier.
Me too.
So Plowboy Frazier asked, Greg, have you ever had them leave something?
Well, I have, but that's before we'll just label that pre-internet and pre-knowing what the hell I was doing. Yeah, three times after I diffused the situation over here. 3 different times parked at that same gate before my cousin sold that property. I had parked at that gate, went in, hunted, came out, nothing had happened. Nothing. Didn't hear nothing, didn't see nothing, nothing out of the way. I got back to my vehicle. That big around. A little bigger than a skull can, all 3 of them. Slick, smooth, looked like polished river rocks. Blue. Seemed like 2 of them was, 2 of them was blue, and I think the other one was red. Light blue, and then red. Anyway, about yay big. Wasn't just perfectly round, kind of like an oval, like a big egg. Sitting right in the middle of the hood of my vehicle. Just bloop, sitting up on the hood. And I come out, I'm like, what in the world is that? And I'm thinking, who in the world is coming here and put a rock on the hood of my vehicle? I walk over, pick it up, look at it.
No.
Yes, threw the things
Oh.
threw them over in the blackberries.
No wonder they kept coming up cussing you.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I wasn't thinking about them things putting me a rock or a gift up here. I'd pick them up, just heave them, look around, get in the Jeep and leave.
I guess you really can't go back and think about it, but I wonder if those 3 were in exchange for 3 deer they stole from y'all.
I don't know what they've done. I really don't know, and I've tried to think back how that would have corresponded to them getting something from us.
Yeah.
I thought about that. Another thing, I don't think I've told y'all this one. Right there where I parked, I told y'all that we parked the gate and then to go around to where the one that scared me so bad about the motorcycle, and then that's where I saw the second one. Between the Forestry Service, the old Wagoner road that went in there, and in there where I was at, that is an old house place. In there, when the 3 different timber terrains run together, there is an old dug well, and the sides have caved off, and it's basically now it's a big hole about 10 feet, or like a 10 feet across circle, and it's probably chest deep because the sides is caved in. And there's some big giant oak trees, and you can tell that it is a old house place. Between that road, right where the gravel Forestry Service road and where my gate was down here, that road's coming in, and you go out here. Between those, there's a pear grove. It's got kind of like we call them baseball pears or pickling pears. It's not the old big that comes like a bell, but these things are hard as a rock. And I'm talking about it has to frost on them a couple of times before they'll soften up. Now they're super good and they're super sweet. It's just they're hard as a rock, but they're really good for canning. There is a grove of those things. It's probably been there 150 years. The woods, there's probably a half acre that's just full of these little pear trees. And I killed a pile of deer in them little pear trees because they come up there after the pears start falling. And I'd ease out through there with a compound bow, and I've killed them with a crossbow. I've killed them with a rifle. I actually killed a few with a pistol in there. But when we started really having a lot of stuff happen with these things, the worse it got, we got to noticing that those pears, they would be like all of them hanging, and by the time they'd get ripe, they'd all drop at one time. They would be certain years you could go in there. Guys, I've been in there before, and it looked like they would be probably 5-6 bushel of pears just hanging everywhere. Well, they wouldn't be hardly any on the ground because the deer was eating them as fast as they're falling. I went in there one day, and as I was coming back out that road, I got over in that pear thicket and was weaving my way up through there and just looking up how many pears was still hanging, and they were hanging everywhere. I come out, and the next day I come back because I was going to set up in that because there wasn't but just very few on the ground, and there was deer tracks everywhere. I thought, well, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to set up on these pear trees and I'm going to bust one this evening. Guys, about 12 or so hours later, I come back. You couldn't have found a pear anywhere. I'm talking about there wasn't one on the ground. There wasn't a pear nowhere to be found on any of them trees. Every pear in that whole thicket was gone. It didn't matter if it was 5 foot off the ground or 15 foot off the ground. There was not a pear anywhere to be had in 12, 14 hour time frame. They were gone. They wasn't none. So tell me what's going to get 5-7 bushel of pear overnight in the middle of the woods. But they were none. They were gone.
Wow.
So, guys, I believe these things, I mean, they move around. They may go here for a little while. They may go over here 3 or 4 miles for a week or two. They may go over here 3 or 4. They may go north, south, east, west. You name it. But they're not going to stay gone long. We've done put that together.
Yeah.
But we, like I said on that while ago, it just, you don't never know when they're here and when they're not. I mean, I can tell you within probably a couple of weeks, like I said, I hadn't had anything here in a few weeks now, but that may change today. It may change this weekend. It may be next weekend.
All right.
Flat
rock. Go ahead, Mark.
Greg, what are your thoughts about using a loud air horn to run them off?
For me, I wouldn't recommend it. There ain't no way. No, sir. No.
You saw what happened with that motorcycle.
I guarantee you that'd be the last thing on the planet I'd want. You couldn't pay me to go out here right now. I wouldn't go out right here and blow air horn right now. Ain't happening. No. You talking about make them mad, and I mean, I'm going to tell you, it's going to piss them off. If they're in the earshot of that, you're not going to be their friend. I'll promise you.
Yeah.
And it don't make them leave. It'll make them come to you. They're not going to be happy. I'll promise you. I don't know if it hurts their ears. I don't know what they see that as. Is that loud noise being a challenge? I have no idea. But just like I'm sure there are people thought that we was joking when Alan and I was on here. And when I said that when we came out of that road, when we got to the end of the road, we was looking for a motorcycle and or a guy 20, 25, 30 feet up in a tree, tore all to pieces.
Yeah.
That's fact. Guys, I wasn't playing with that. If we'd got to the end of that highway and I'd seen a motorcycle 20 feet in a tree with the frame twisted on it, I wouldn't have been shocked. If I'd been a dude, a half of them in an oak tree over here and a half in an oak tree over there, I wouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, that thing was take a sucker away from a 2-year-old, and that ain't got nothing compared to what that thing was doing.
Yeah.
It was upset, angry, and pissed plumb off, and it tried to hurt something. And guys, when it left, it was going straight to that motorcycle sound. It wasn't going the other way. It wasn't running it off. I honestly believe that thing was looking at it as a challenge. That loud noise is a challenge. Uh-huh. And like I said, I have seen and heard, well, I say seen, I've heard them. I've had them close to me. Big truck Jake brakes, sirens, jet plane fly over real low, like coming out of Huntsville. Some of these planes fly through here, be real low. That thing go through and be real loud, be down low. Man, I've heard these things kick off, go to screaming at that plane. No. Yeah. My advice, get you some bear spray. And I'm going to tell you something else that I carry when we go. And guys, I don't research a lot. I got buddies that do, and I'll go with them from time to time, and that's go well and good. But me venturing off, going and looking at these things out in the deep, dark woods, long way from a vehicle or a way of escape, ain't happening. But I'll tell you what I tell people to go get, especially if you're going to be out there after dark, is go to AutoZone, Napa Auto Parts, O'Reilly's. Stroll over to the emergency equipment area. Look down there and get you, probably going to cost you $10. There's going to be 3 of them in a pack. Is the old magnesium road flares. You get the short ones and you get the long ones. The short ones burn like 15 minutes. The long ones burn 30 minutes. You rip the cap off that thing, turn on and strike it like a big match. You're blowing a flame about 12 inches out the end. It's going to be about 3,800 degrees. You're holding a blowtorch going to burn for 30 minutes. I don't care what it is. It could be made of meat, blood, bone, gas. You prod that thing with a flame that's going to be like a blowtorch. It ain't going to hang on you long. Plus, it's going to be one heck of a bright light in the dark.
Yeah.
So, look here. You spent $10. You got 3 of them. If they're 15 minutes, you got 45 minutes as a weapon or something to use defensively to get yourself out of the woods.
Yeah.
If you need an emergency fire that you can stoke up to keep these things away from the fire, you can bet yourself you can light some pretty damp wood with a road flare. But hey, get you 2 packs, get 6 of them, get you a pack of little ones, pack of big ones. I mean, guys, you get off, you get injured. I can tell you this: if somebody comes looking for you, if you've got a road flare at night, that's going to be seen from a long way.
Yeah.
Even if they're flying a helicopter, odds are they're going to be using the FLIR. All right. The forward-looking infrared, they're looking for heat. Look here, guys. Not only is that road flare bright, it's really, really hot. You're going to be like a beacon down there waving that road flare. So, I mean, it's a really great piece of emergency equipment to have in anybody's pack that's doing anything in the woods. Go get those flares. They're going to already be in a waterproof bag. If you got a food saver at home, put them in that, vacuum seal the pack they're in, and do it 2 more layers. That way, they're sure going to be waterproof. Guys, them things will last for years.
Just don't tape them to your chest and wear them into any venue.
No. Yes. Yes.
All right. Bob Gillenwater. The man come in 3rd in that last race, Mark.
Yeah, he did.
With the Beast TV wrap on the car. He said he made a decision to go with 2 tires instead of 4. And I'd have just kept driving till I had a flat. But that's just how I operate. All right. But Bob asked, do your senses tip you off when they're around, or are you alerted when things pop off?
I've noticed a lot of things. The more I dealt with these, I noticed that I was picking up on things. Guys, I would get, and I call it the creepy feels. I mean, people call it 6 cents, 7 cents. They call it whatever. I don't care if you call it a full dime. But your senses, guys, I honestly believe that that's something that we've lost as humans. And guys, if you'll start listening to that, I believe you can develop it. You can regain a lot of things. Well, I say regain it, you'll just become aware of things. Guys, it got to where before these things, I would ever hear them or anything, I'd start getting the creeps. I mean, guys, it's like being in a store, being in church, and you start getting this feel, and it's not being guilty from what you've done, but you feel like somebody's looking at you, like somebody's burning a hole in you, and you glance around and somebody's staring at you. I mean, I mean, anybody you talk to, somebody's had that happen to them in their life where they knew that somebody or something was looking at them. Guys, it got me and Alan, me and Troy, me and a lot of people talk about this. Guys, I've had times that I'd pull up down there at that gate. I'd pull up at that gate, get out of my truck, be by myself. Everything's dandy, happy-go-lucky, hadn't had nothing happen. Maybe that whole, up to that point, maybe early in the season, hadn't had nothing happen, nothing out of the way. I pulled up down there, being my Jeep, being my pickup, being whatever. I pulled up down there, open the door and get out. It'd be sun shining, beautiful, beautiful evening to hunt. I'd open my door and get out, reach in and get my rifle. As soon as I'd stand up out of the truck, I kid you not, it was like it was a circle of men around me holding me with their hands going, whoop, whoop, no, hold on. You'd have a feeling wash over you. It'd shake you to the ground. It was just like something telling you, I mean, you didn't hear no words, but you got to understand you don't need to be here. You need to leave. And guys, I've stood there. I have stood there with my door open with my rifle in hand, started to step back to close the door to go to the woods. It was like I couldn't make my feet work. It was like I was glued to the ground, like I couldn't turn loose of that door. I have stood there, and it was like gloom and doom, and like just something was just holding you in place, and just everything. And you're going, I want to hunt, guys, and it just wash over you. And I could not make myself close the door of that truck. Could make myself go in there and hunt, and me telling myself, it's all right, there ain't nothing going on, and I could not make myself go in them woods and hunt. Step right back, put my rifle right back in the truck of the Jeep, step in, close the door, back out there, go 1.5 miles down the road to another place I was hunting. Get out of the Jeep, get out of the truck, nothing happened, everything's fine. Get out, go in there and hunt, have a wonderful evening.
You know, Greg, you are absolutely right about senses that we have lost. I remember one of the first times I went out with Dan Ricky, and we're standing there, and it's feeling creepy to me. And then Dan's standing beside me, and he just says, "They're here." Just like that. And then I was just flooded with creepiness. And me and Larry has talked about this. You know, being in the woods, and you know that you're being watched. There's no doubt.
Yes, sir. Oh yeah, it'll wash over you. And if there's people, like I said, like some of the guys I named, guys, I guarantee you take us over here in a wide. If one of us senses it, it won't be 60 seconds. There's gonna be somebody else notice it. And you could go over there. You could go over there and tell them guys, you could take and say, okay, if we go out tonight and if we go to a place, if y'all get the creepy feels, don't say nothing to nobody. Just look at your phone, look at your watch, see what time it is, and make a mental note. If we left there, something happened, something didn't happen, I'll go somewhere else. You say, all right, did anybody get the creepy feels? Odds are there's going to be 3 or 4 out of 5 going to go, yeah. Well, what time did you get them? Somebody's going to look at their watch and say, well, it was 8:52. Time did you get them? About 8:55. When did you get them? A couple minutes before 8, or a couple minutes before y'all did. Guys, I kid you not, it's going to be really close, and it will astound people. And there again, there's going to be people go, oh, that's the woo. You can't. Oh, I don't believe it. They can believe what they want to, guys.
Yeah.
It's just like I said, when you get the feels and your hair stands up, guys. I've had it to where you could look at the hair on my arms, and it looked like you had rubbed a blanket over it and pulled it like was static, like it like the hair was just standing up. Feel like you break out in goosebumps for no reason. And then it wouldn't be long, you'd have something happen. I've had it. I've dealt with it too many times, and over and over and over and over and over again. Once I knew what to look for, I became more aware of what was happening. So,
all right, Mark, you want to read that one?
Okay, I'll read everything but the last word.
No, I want you to read that.
Oh God,
Bama Murdoch asks. So, if you could wake up one day and they're just gone, would you want that, or is it addictive now, or a quest?
Well, let me ponder for just a second on how to answer that. Was I happy before I knew what was here? Sure. Yeah, I didn't worry as much going into the woods. Like I said, guys, I grew up in the woods. That's all I've ever done is hunted and fished and farmed and, lived in the country. I mean, I grew up with the whole deal. There's nothing in the woods at night that's different in the daytime. Everything's all right. You ain't scared in the daytime. Don't be scared at night. Well, that's before I realized the booger man was real. That changes. Like I said, I'll say it one more time. There's no shame in being scared or having fear. It's just being able to overcome that fear and go ahead and do what you want to do or need to do. It's astonishing that these things are real. I mean, even seeing what I've seen and seeing them and experiencing and encountering, it's hard to wrap your hands around it. I got that. And that's the reason I know that people that ain't seen nothing, sure, they're skeptic. I got that. But don't belittle the people that have seen.
Yeah.
I don't know what these things' purpose is, because I don't know what they are. I mean, there's so many questions. I don't have answers. As best I can tell, there's nobody got true, ironclad answers to what these things are, where these things come from, if they evolved, if it's a primate, if it's I don't think they're a missing link. I'll just go ahead and tell you, I don't believe in a missing link. I do not. If we had a missing link, why wouldn't we see all stages from where we're at now to where they were then? Why wouldn't they still be some of that, all levels of that out here where we've seen them every day? Guys, I'm going to tell you, people that listen to my other stuff, I really believe that it's, I think it's something spiritual. I don't know. I mean, now, guys, I'm not hid the fact I'm a true believer in Jesus Christ. I've seen miracles work. I had one work right here in my leg. Lord put my bone back together. I should have lost my leg in December. Surgeon told me he never seen anything like it. All the bones went back together on their own. I got a miracle. I saw that miracle. My wife saw the miracle. The surgeon, 30-year surgeon, said he'd never seen a bone broke that bad. They didn't even operate on my leg. Didn't operate out. I've not been touched with a scalpel. Surgeon shrugged his shoulders, said, "Look, what happened in your leg ain't improbable. It's impossible. I've never seen nothing like it. That can't happen," but it did. I heard a voice told me, "Don't worry any longer. You will be okay." I look around, ain't nobody there but me, and I'm waiting on the ambulance to come get me right here. 12 feet right there outside. December 2nd last year.
Uh-oh.
I should have had a surgery. It took 6 hours, 12 screws, 2 titanium plates, and a titanium pin to put this back together. They didn't touch me. Didn't do nothing. Put me in a brace. Don't get on it for 4 months. I'm up walking 5 months later. If I'd had surgery, I'd been down a year and a half. That's as far I've gone far as I want to on that. But anyway, guys, I don't know what these things are here for. I don't know who put them here. I don't know what their deal is. I have no idea. I have no idea. Do I wish they were gone? I just wish they'd leave me alone. Just if we can cohabitat, I'm cool with that. They can walk around out here. They come get scraps outside. They can eat watermelon rinds. We're good. Just quit chasing me to the truck, screaming and yelling and throwing crap at me.
Yeah.
Quit stealing my deer. Leave me alone. Leave me to where I'm not worried that when my wife and kids leave right here at night, I walk them out to the car. And when they pull up, especially if it's after dark, I walk out and walk them inside. People think it's crazy, but guys, look, I mean, when you're dealing with something that's a wild animal that can reach down and snatch up a 185-pound deer and walk off with it, what's it going to do to a 60-pound, 10-year-old little girl?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess I don't trust them. I guess maybe they trust me more than I trust them because cards in their favor, not mine.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, Joe Parker asked, and this is kind of an opinion question, but he would like to know if you have any thoughts on why some clans are vocal and some are not vocal.
I don't know. There again, that's out of my realm of expertise. All I tell you about, guys, is stuff that I've read that other people's come forth with. I don't know. These right here, I can tell you without a doubt, the main thing that these are not, they're not much on being seen. Like the ones that I was having coming up throwing stuff at us, they wouldn't come out. They'd be 2 or 3 feet just in the woods, and they would come up right beside you. Like I said, the one that I walked past, I had to have walked within 6-7 feet. 6 or 7 feet, the length of a normal average sized man's body. I walked right beside it, and it never done anything till I stepped past it. And that's when it huff grunted, and I almost turned inside out and burnt my underwear and everything else. I don't know. I mean, these over here guys, I mean, you may hear them scream. You may go a long time not hear them scream. You may hear them knock on trees. You may not hear them knock on trees. There's no rhyme or reason. It ain't like I can go out here and say, all right, look, guys, y'all come over here next Thursday night, 7:22, and we're going to hear this one over here. He screams. No, it may be a month. He may scream 3 days in a row. You may hear whoops and tree knocks. You may hear them every day for a week. Then you may go 2 or 3 months and nothing happened. There is no rhyme or reason to what's happened that I've seen or heard. You can't plan on it.
Larry, this has happened to you. We'll let you ask this one.
Yeah, but he wants to know from Greg. He's already
No,
heard me.
I'm not talking about. You just asked a question because you know about this.
Can Squatch ask, have they popped up in your dreams?
Oh yeah. I ain't gonna say that they popped up in there like some type of mind speak or nothing like that. I'm just gonna chalk it up as to like me doing a law enforcement where I've had to go help cut people out of cars and pick up dead body parts and put people in bags. A lot of things that a lot of people ain't supposed to see. I've had to deal with it. Guys, I've had to get burn up corpses out of houses and cars. And here where I live, I mean, a lot of times law enforcement, the fire department, we have to help out our coroners. And I've had a lot of bad dreams from that as far as traumatic stuff.
Yeah.
And some of the deals that I've had with these boogers right over here in this woods was worse on me than anything I've ever done, law enforcement, fire department, anything else. Because I went in with one of our local chiefs of police on an active home invasion. Active home invasion. We got the call. I roll up. Chief of police was right behind me. I jump out my truck. He jumps out his truck. We get to the garage. I got an assault rifle. I charge up 3 steps into the kitchen, turn and cut the corner. He's right behind me. We blow through the kitchen, hit the living room, cross the living room into a hallway. I go about 2 steps in the hallway. My buddy that was the chief, he's 2 feet to my right. I can see my peripheral. I can see he's got a handgun. I can see it. So we're going down this hall. I go about 2-3 steps down the hallway and I hear the homeowner that I know personally. I hear the homeowner and then I hear another voice and they're arguing. And I stop. When I stop, he stops. And I look at him. He sidesteps into a bathroom. I fall back about 3 steps and catch the wall. And it goes from there. Because I'm law enforcement capacity with an assault rifle, with active home invasion, with a guy barricaded in a bedroom about 12 feet away. That didn't bother me even close to right here in these woods when these things got between me and my truck. My main thought, now I had the thought that I'm probably fixing to have to shoot this guy and I may have to kill this man. But the main thought in my head was, golly, I've got this short barrel rifle and it's fixing to bust my eardrums when this thing goes off in this hallway. That was the main thought in my mind is, oh my God, I wish I had some earplugs. This is going to be bad, bad, bad. Over here in these woods, I was praying to the good Lord I was going to get back to my truck. I've never had nothing in law enforcement bother me like I've had right over here in these woods. So yeah, I've had dreams. I've had nightmares. And I think what I've shared already, the thing that really got me on my nightmares was I'd have these things. The dream was usually pretty much about the same thing. It would chase me through the woods, chase me down like a log road in the woods, and it would grab me. And like it would turn the same dream, like it grabbed me and spin me around. And when I would look and see it, its face was just like slick and black. It was no mouth, no nose, no eyes. It was just like you had, like I could see hair and this big, muscles. I could see the body like I had seen. But all the ones that I've seen, I hadn't been able to see the facial features And it was just like you took this like slick paint and just smeared it. And that's what creeped me out. It's horrible. I know it sounds weird. People go, well, I'd be scared if it had big old teeth. No. It was the same dream over and over. And finally I'd fight through it and I'd quit having them. But yeah, and guys, look, I'll just tell you, I'm sure it was some form of PTSD. Since everything's got to have a label now, we just label it. But yeah, I mean, anybody that's ever been scared and truly in fear for their life, when you think that I'm probably not going to live, there's all kind of, there's all kind of ways to get PTSD, and there's all different severities of PTSD, and it's all how people's body or how their mental, they're able to cope with it. Some people, it's just like some people's naturally strong lifting weights. Some people ain't. Somebody's mental strong, that's stronger than the next person. There's all kind of different things, and it's the way you've got an outlet to deal with it. And like I said, guys, that goes back to exactly what I'm talking about people having an outlet to talk to somebody that they can confide in, that's going to treat them with respect, and it's not going to belittle and not going to ridicule them. I know what it's like, y'all. I know what it's like not to have somebody to talk to, and not have somebody that understands and knows what you've been through. I've been there. I've been that guy. So, I'm ready to be that guy for somebody else. And like I've told these people, if they got something that's bothering them, they can message here, comment, like, share the video. If they know somebody that's having a problem, tell them to watch these videos. Share it with them. Tag them in it. If they'll leave a comment on here, I'll try to send them a PM. I mean, guys, look, if it helps one person, like I've done told y'all over and over, if this helps one person, I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm okay with the ridicule. I'm okay with people poking and prodding. I don't care. I mean, if we can help, if me and y'all do, if we can touch one person and help them and realize that there's people out there that's going to take them for their word and realize that they're not crazy. I'm okay. I'm cool with every bit of this.
All right. We caught up on most of the questions, so we got about 15 minutes left. Let's end this show on that encounter you said that your buddy finally shared with you at the Jack's, or what, I think it's Jack's. He wouldn't ever tell you, and finally he did tell you about it.
Oh no, that's the one is that not the one I told y'all about, the guy shooting the one?
That's the one.
Okay. Well, I couldn't remember if I'd done told y'all that or not.
You told me and Mark that, but you haven't told the
I
audience that.
told you on here. Oh,
Right.
Oh,
Right.
See, look, I'm y'all gonna have to forgive me. I'm five episodes deep into this. It goes to run together. Yeah, that I had a couple of guys that I know that they came to me and they was like, "You need to go talk to so and so." I said, "What about?" He knows something about them booger man. And I said, "What are you talking about?" Said he had something scared him pretty bad over in the woods close to his house. Well, come to find out, his house was, remember in one of the other episodes I told y'all about my baby brother that ran and the one followed him up and come out? From right there where my brother seen that one, it was about a little over a quarter of a mile to this guy's house. Right there. And from where I'm at, it's about 2 miles crow fly to there. So all this is right here, right here, ground zero. I said, "Well, what are you talking about?" I said, "Man, he don't want to talk about it. Don't know who to talk to." I said, "What happened?" I said, "Man, he had something scared him bad." I said, "He's over in the woods turkey hunting." I said, "Something scared him bad." I said, "You need to talk to him. You need to talk to him." I'd say this guy, I'd known him years and years and years. I mean, since I was a kid. He's not, I don't know, he's probably 4 or 5 years older than I am. I'd seen him a couple of times, and I was like, "Hey, I ain't talking to you. What about?" I said, "Somebody told me you run up on something over in the woods." "Nah, I don't know what you're talking about. You can't believe them." I wouldn't say nothing to him. It'd go 3 or 4 months. I'd catch him out somewhere else, outside a store pumping gas, in a store. I'd catch him outside. Hey, dude, did you really have something going on over in the woods? No. I said, you sure? Nah. Well, it rocks on. And dude, it took me a while, probably a year and a half or longer. Hit him up 3 or 4 times. And finally, I was like, I run up on him one day. I said, look, dude. I said, I am not trying to make fun of you. I'm not trying to belittle you. I said, I am the last guy on the planet going to make fun of you about anything to do with Bigfoot. And he just looks at me. I said, let me just tell you some things that I've seen. Let me tell you some things that I've had done to me. Let me tell you what I know. And I'll even tell you where it happened at. So he sits there and listens to me for 30, 45 minutes. Me telling him about all the things that happened, what I'd seen, deer getting stolen, me seeing one, yada, yada, yada. I said, dude, I know the real. You know, I'm not going to give you down the road if you tell me you've seen one, because I have seen it. I said, I know it's real. He said, well, yeah. He said, I did run up on something over there. I said, where was you at? Well, he tells me. And this, where he ran up on this thing at, the third one that I saw off of this that crossed the U.S. highway right here, the swag that it crossed the road in the bottom of that swag. If I went if I went south from where I seen the one run, so the opposite way I saw it run, the one I saw was going north. Where it came from is the same exact hollow that this guy said he saw this thing in. It's the hollow that was behind where he lived. He just lived probably, I don't know, it's probably 3/4 of a mile or a mile down that same hollow. It just gets bigger and deeper as further you go. Well, that's where it was. It was the same hollow where from where he saw it, if it just walked up that hollow, it would have crossed the highway right where I seen one. All right. He was, from what he told me, he was turkey hunting. Turkey season. Alabama, it was in the spring. Said he went off in this big canyon, big gulf behind his house. That hollow I was talking about. He got down at the bottom. It was kind of like where it went down and flattened. He was kind of up against that where it started up. Where it stood 25, 30 yards wide, maybe a little wider. And then it went up the other side, just real steep. He said the only way you could go up and down it was like you'd have to reach out and catch the ground or catch a sapling or a tree. And so you're pulling with your arms and pushing your legs to go up this hill. He said it's just steep, steep, steep. Well, he said he's down there and he done some calling, turkey calls. He said to his right, up the hollow, he hears something coming off the other side, making a lot of racket. And it hits the bottom of the hollow up from him. And he hears it walking bipedal coming down the hollow, but it's kind of on the other side of this flat. And it's walking. It comes up and gets across from him 25, 30 yards. And he's trying to figure out what it is. Then he realizes that it's tall, 7 feet plus, covered in hair on 2 legs. It was like a monster. I said, dude, what'd you do? He said, man, it freaked me out. He said, I'm hunting with a semi-automatic shotgun, 12 gauge, had high brass turkey loads. He said, I jerked that shotgun up. And he said, the thing looked at him. He said, it started to turn. And he said, I cut down shooting. I said, you what? He said, yeah. He said, man, I emptied that shotgun. So I shot 5 times. Boom, 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 boom. I said, what'd it do? He said, man, that thing whirled and took off. So basically, most of the shots he shot it was in the back. But he shot it with high brass turkey loads. I mean, we're not talking about buckshot. We're talking about probably it burnt. May have went in a little bit, but probably didn't hurt it real bad. He said that thing took off like a bullet, shot up that hill. He said he could hear it going just, 100 yards or better up this mountain, just tearing the woods apart, running. He said, dude, there's no way anything ought to be able to go up a hill like that thing did. He said it went up a hill like it was on level ground. He said it didn't even check up, didn't slow down. Said it was just tearing the woods apart, going straight up a hill away from him. I said, what'd you do then? He said, I got the hell out of there. He said, man, I like to kill myself. Thought I was going to have a heart attack trying to get back to the house. So I took off, went back home, loaded my shotgun up with buckshot, and really didn't know what to do. But I think, best I remember, he said he went back, or him and somebody went back and looked for blood and didn't find nothing. So, yeah, I mean, it's like I said, that most people are not going to talk about it. Like I said, it took me a year and a half to get this old boy to even say anything.
Didn't you say after he shot, he realized he shot all the shells?
Oh, yeah.
He didn't have any?
Yeah. He said that's exactly, you're exactly right. I forgot to put that in there, but he said he realized his shells was gone.
Yeah.
Hey, and then the other boy, he's the one that had the Browning 7 mag like Al hunts with. He fired 4 shells, and he was out of shells. He shot a Browning 7 mag into a pine thicket where one was screaming at him. It done him about the same thing, kind of like what it done me and Al. This old boy, he said this one come in below him and got to like bawling and squalling, and he climbed down out of the tree. And when he got down out of the tree, this thing run up into a pine thicket just right out from his stand. He jerked his rifle up, and he went screaming at it. So he said, I don't know who you are, but if you're trying to scare me, it's worked. And he said, if you don't leave me alone, he said, I'm fixing to kill you. He said, I'm fixing to shoot you. And said the thing got to just screaming and raising Cain. And I said, well, dude, what'd you do? He said, man, I flipped safety off on that Browning. He said, I went boom. I said, well, what'd it do? He said, it got mad sure enough. Now, he's just shot like 35, 40 yards into a pine thicket where this thing is tearing the woods up. He's just shot a high-powered rifle, 7mm Magnum into this brush and these small pines. Guys, if that'd been somebody playing a joke, what do y'all think he's going to do when that 7 mag barked off and that bullet went zinging through there with him?
Yeah.
They'd been hollering, whoa, stop and don't. Look here, man, I'm sorry. Whoa, don't shoot no more.
Right.
I asked him, I said, what'd it do? He said, man, it got mad sure enough. I said, what'd you do? He said, I shot the rest of my shells. He said, I shot the other 3 just fast as he could work a boat. I said, what'd it do? He said, it was sure enough mad. I said, well, what'd you do then? He said, man, all my shells was back at the house. He said, all I had was them 4. It was in that gun. I said, what is wrong with you? He said, well, it was pretty warm out there and didn't have my coat on. My coat had all my shells in it. I said, then what'd you do? He said, I stuck my sling over my head and had my rifle on my back, and he had a fixed blade, black handled buck skinning knife with like a 6-7 inch blade. He got it in his case pocket knife, and he had a knife in each hand. Now, this old boy is about 6'2", probably weighed 280, and the side of a car had about much fat as he did. I mean, this boy was like a anvil. He said, man, I had them knives in each hand, and he said, I wouldn't turn it. He said, I couldn't make myself turn my back on it to run. So he backed up, and had to go about 80 or 100 yards to get right up to their cattle pasture where the fence was. I mean, he was in the woods outside of their pasture. He said, man, that thing was having a fit. He said, when he got up pretty close to their fence, he said he stuck that knife back in the scabbard and latched it, put the other one in his pocket, and he whirled and run. And he said he dove like head first over a 5-strand barbed wire fence, hit the ground, went to rolling out through the pasture and jumped up. He said, man, I run to the house. He said, my heart was about to explode. Now, this old boy was probably a couple years out of high school, football player. I'm talking about, he told me, he said, I ain't never run so hard in my life. He said, I just knew something was going to grab me.
Yeah.
But, I mean, guys, people that I went to school with, I was 2 boys that I graduated. One of them, the brother was a couple of years younger than me. They were down a Forestry Service road behind the property that I still hunt now. It's probably a mile through the woods. I got a story on them that these 2 boys was illegal hunting. They were not hunting, spotlighting. Shined the spotlight on a deer. One brother's holding the light, the other one shoots the deer, and the deer drops. Well, about the time the deer drops, they see something step out of the wood line into like this open part, a couple of 100 yards out where the deer was. Walks out on 2 legs, reaches down, snatches their deer up, throws it over its shoulder, turns around, walks off. I was also told that them 2 boys refused to go down that road anymore.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So I don't know, but y'all, I mean, there's no shortage of sightings where I live. About 7-8 miles south of here, guy that I know, his wife was bedridden. Her health was horrible. They had a nurse that was coming around. She would come in and take care of his wife a couple of days every week for a long time. They would have sightings. He had a big cattle pasture behind his house. It got to where in the morning they would drink coffee and watch out the field to see if this thing would come out, walk down the wood line, and go back into a different piece of property. They saw it many times.
Ain't that nice, Mark?
Yeah.
Which I didn't find out about this till the guy's wife had died, and this was after the fact. So I don't know whether this still happens now. This man, he's passed away now, died last year.
Well, Greg, you've made it another 2 hours. I told you didn't have to go 2 hours on my show, and here we are.
Well, maybe everybody, guys, I just hope somebody out there got something out of this. I just really do.
Well, we appreciate you coming on there again. I know we bugged you, 5 times?
I think we're going to keep bugging him because
he's a new host.
We talked, me and Larry talked, and we was going to be mostly on stories that people have told you, and I can think of 5 or 6 more stories that people have told you that you've told us.
Guys, like I said, I might have to make me a list and get me an itinerary, but I mean, y'all give me a break for a little bit, and I'll come back before long. If I don't go to my little girl's baseball game next week, she's gonna hang me up by my toe.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you'll get in trouble.
I might wake up in the morning with a pillowcase over my head.
Mama has something to say about it too eventually.
Sorry. Yes. But guys, I appreciate y'all having me. And once again, all the viewers, anybody that's looked at this, if y'all know something, got a question, right or wrong, we'll try to answer it. We'll give you the most honest answer we've got. We'll try to help you piece something together. If you've got a question, want to know something, leave a comment. Somebody try to answer you as quick as we can. It might be a day or two, because I'm having to work 80, 90 hours a week right now. But yeah, I mean, I'll try to look in and see what people's commented, but like I said, like it and share it and boost these guys up, man. These two boys right here, they out here, they doing it. If they'll come clean, they're doing it to help people too.
Well, we appreciate it, Greg. We appreciate your time, and we'll give you a couple of weeks, a month or something, and we'll try it again.
Sound like a plan, man.
Because if you keep hanging around them people like Tim Toombo Baker and all that, you'll have 40 more stories in a month.
Look, I done told y'all, when the weather breaks and it ain't 114 degrees in the shade and then the fan blowing on you, y'all have to come over here and hang out with us this weekend.
We'll do it. We will, for sure.
Yep, sounds like a plan. So,
Mark, I got good news for you.
What's that, Larry?
You got the next show, right?
I think we're gonna give it to Bama.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
The sisters are wanting to come on and talk about their Georgia trips.
Okay. Well, we can do that next week.
We'll do that whenever your show is or whatever. But,
yeah.
All right. I didn't know who was. It's so messed up now. I love it. I don't know if it's my show, Bama's show, your show, somebody's show.
Or
it might be Greg's show next week. All right, folks. You got anything else, Mark?
I do not. I just want to thank Greg, and for the people that haven't shared a campfire with him, I'm just going to tell you, he is one of the most honest people there is out there. If you looked up integrity in the dictionary, it would have his picture right beside of it.
Yep.
Thank the world of him.
Guys, y'all gonna make my head swell up.
I thought of one more thing. I want to congratulate Mr. and Miss Slade Monk. Slade and Donna got married this past weekend.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
I want to say congratulations to them.
Yes, congratulations.
All right, folks. We're
Roll
gonna get
Tide.
off here. Roll Tide. That's right.
There you go.
That's what Slade Monk would say right now. Roll Tide.
You guys, appreciate it. See y'all.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Y'all have a good night.